we're going to talk to our lovely speakers today. We have Kelly and Elizabeth of New Hat, and they are wonderful, and they made these, so you already know you're going to like them. And let's go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Wow. Welcome us to you. Thank you so much, Christy and Colin and everyone at Creative Mornings, Jonathan, Jason, everyone who's making this happen. We were just sitting over to the side thinking about how crazy it is that everyone is so good at something that seems so terrifying to us. But we're really excited to be here. I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Kelly.
And together we are New Hat. We are a surface design studio in Nashville. We create custom wall coverings, custom artwork, and pattern development for commercial businesses and sometimes residential projects. Like this one that you see back here. We were so excited when Christy said that we could print some of our wallpaper and have it behind us. And this happens to be a pattern that we created in collaboration with another local artist, Alex Lockwood, and for his house, which is amazing that anyone would be so cool to have something like this in their home. Anyhow, that's just a brief intro about us, and I think we're just going to go ahead and dive in to today's topic, which Christy beautifully introduced. And the first thing that we want to talk about is like, why are we actually here? Which is kind of, we're gratefully and thankfully, okay, got some hair in the way. Sorry about that. We're gratefully and thankfully a part of the Nashville creative community. Kelly and I have been working in Nashville as artists and designers for a long time at this point, and we've been working towards building our creative business for the last 5 years together, and that's been that's taken us on a journey. And so today we have a few things that we would like to share and talk about on the theme of release. And honestly, the most important reason why we're here is that when Christy and Colin came to us and said, would you like to do this? And we said, no, why would we do this? Then they said, look at this list of themes. And yes, I'm going to transition to this microphone. Cool. They said, look at this list of themes. And Kelly and I looked at them, and one of the themes that we saw was release. And that, my friends, is what we say to each other nearly daily in our studio. We're not joking. This is how we say it. I'll be typing away at my computer, feeling some type of way and stressed out, and then I'll look over at Kelly and look at her in the eyes and some type of way, and she'll say, release. And that's just part of our life. And so we knew when we saw that word, we're like, oh, well, I guess we have to do this.
We have to do it.
Yeah, it's part of it.
Yeah.
So that's just a little bit about why we're here. So we're just going to dive in and start talking about what release means to us and give you a little bit of insight about our business and our story. Oh, yeah. Wow. Did I not have the why we are here slide? Okay, that's fine. Okay, technical awesomeness.
All comedy aside, release truly is a mantra of ours. I'm sure many of you know freelancers, small business owners, whether you work for a small business, you're expected to wear a lot of hats, and you have to do that fluidly and freely. And that takes a lot of care and a lot of, refinement of your sense of yourself, your emotional intelligence, and also just being aware of your mental health and talking to people about it, because you have to feel free to be a confident, efficient, direct communicator and business owner. And then you also have to feel free to feel inspired, to find inspiration, and to create artwork that is fulfilling to you and pushes the boundaries that you want it to push. So we've found through having a collaboration at all. I mean, you're on the spot all the time. And
Yes.
usually we can recognize now, like, okay, she's in a state of distress and she seems blocked in this project and she's not saying
So
anything.
much.
So I will just say, release.
Oh, and thank God for that, honestly. Yeah. So I think we're going to go through a few things where we talk about some sort of obvious things that you need to release. We're going to start with releasing your ego, baby. I think that that is a huge part of what it takes to have any type of successful relationship. I think we all probably know that. But for us, when we first started New Hat, we knew that we wanted to, kind of like the age-old saying. Is it age-old? I don't know. But we wanted to go further together instead of faster alone. And so that was kind of a founding principle, like that set this foundation for what we were going to do together. And doing that means that you've got to release a lot of parts of yourself that need things, and to like come together is actually fairly difficult. But we luckily had a lot of synchronicities and alignments in how we thought about art, how we wanted a business to run. And so we were lucky enough to have those as a foundation. And so then organically, things started to take shape. But, organic happenstance can only take you so far. And so part of our challenge was kind of, you have to know yourself before you can make any changes about yourself. And you have to know the other person as well. And so that's that. We knew each other to a point, but we needed to like go a little bit deeper as we went along the life of our business. So
Yeah, and like any relationship, a business partnership, it needs maintenance, it needs care, and so release is kind of what we think of as like an all-around concept of, are we seeing ourselves clearly? Are we seeing our motivations clearly? Or are we letting some fear of the unknown get in the way of our work? So for today, Elizabeth made us what we call these beautiful emotional baseball cards, what I call beautiful.
yes,
Because she made it. She makes everything beautiful. And so there's, run-of-the-mill stats that modern American life gives us to try and find out who the hell we are and what the hell we're doing. And we also, on the other side, flip side, there's a visual baseball card, because as artists and designers, we each have a unique perspective based on things we've been exposed to throughout our lives, things our families love to do that we inherited naturally, and the kind of media, the kind of source imagery and inspiration sources we look to. Totally. So that's the flip side. And it's funny, doing this, we even discovered something this week when we were thinking about like, okay, well, what's my business strength? Because even, we're only 5 years old and we're young women, and, what we don't have in confidence, we make up for in self-care.
Damn right.
But I realized my business strength, they were kind of like, I'm a good finisher and Elizabeth's a good starter on a project. Each project, Elizabeth, I think of her as like our innovation and technology officer. She always has great ideas. She's always pushing the envelope, thinking about how we can iterate something to make it better. And she's an earth sign, and she's very methodical. She's good at creating plans and structure. But then she can kind of get a little stuck in that iterating and structure. And I'm kind of a flaky air sign who gets bored easily. And, if I have a plan, I can execute. So I'm the finisher. Yes. And then, at the end, I'm also kind of a Pollyanna. I'm like, this looks so great. I love it. Okay, let's move on. So
Yeah, and it's essential because otherwise I would be stuck in the land of never finishing, and it's never good enough. And so how amazing that we had that sort of that duality that has to exist. And you have to know that. You have to know that about anyone that you're collaborating with, whether, and to believe, even if you don't have a business partner, you're collaborating with people. Like that's part of the art process, part of the design process. So it's good to know your roles in that way.
Yeah, I'm going to keep taking this metaphor further. I was thinking like, what a like soothing thought also that like anyone that you're interacting with, a colleague, collaborator, like they have an emotional baseball card too.
Yes.
And I don't know what that card is. And I shouldn't be making up a card for them, which I think can happen a lot.
Preach. Can't snap because I have this in my hand. But yes.
But conflict arises when you're projecting some narrative on someone that isn't theirs, it's yours. And
exactly.
So, stick to your card.
We should have made that a sticker, actually. Stick to your card. We just came up with that phrase because that's how we rock. So, okay, here's mine. It's funny. You can see the beautiful differences between us and the similarities as well. And on the visual side, we did this exercise that was so helpful, which was to create the new hat like visual mood board. That was something that we went through a few years ago, working on a capsule collection. And it was such a revealing moment because we have a lot of things that we love, and I love Kelly's taste. But it was interesting to see how what we both naturally like coalesces. And so it's nice to have your own separate visual mood board, but we also did one where it was together. So we always encourage people to do that exercise if they're in a creative collaboration. But the part on my emotional baseball card that I want to talk about and the differences and similarities with Kelly and I is money views. Nobody wants to talk about money. Money is taboo. But we have to do it, and especially if you're in business with someone. Kelly and I grew up really similarly in terms of how our parents viewed money, and conservative savers. Spend nothing, never have joy. Not true if you're watching Mom and Dad. They took us a lot of cool places. I just felt guilt. See, release the guilt. Release. See, she did it. I needed that. So, but the funny thing is, even though we grew up with the same kind of viewpoints on money, we both have translated that differently in our adult lives. Me coming from a place of fear and afraid of money, like all through my 20s, afraid to open bills because I didn't like looking at numbers because they scared me. And, being a saver and doing that and not wanting to have debt, but also then making weird spending decisions out of nowhere because, when you're living from a place of scarcity, you then kind of have you can make some wild decisions.
Yeah, it can be chaotic.
It can be a little chaotic. So luckily, Kelly, on the opposite end of that, is very action oriented with money. And yes, she saves. And yes, she's a spendthrift. And yes, she figures out how to use all of our materials instead of buying new ones, which is just smart, and everyone should do that. But it has helped us in our partnership because I respect it and I understand the point of view, but I'm not able to kind of bring that to our business. And it was important for us to understand that that difference, but similarity.
I think it's important to release what you're not. And
yes,
there's no shame in not having a certain personality trait because there's still a role for you and there's a role for another person who has that. So I think that's another part of collaboration that is appealing to us.
Totally. So we encourage you. We're going to have a link in the chat for you to download your own emotional baseball blank card. And with the people that you care about in your life, maybe you can
trade them.
Yeah, trade them. We would like you to print it off. We would like you to potentially collage images. We need to go back to like Trapper Keeper style.
Yes.
When that was a part of our identity. So we encourage that for sure. We're very tactile people. But yeah, so that's something you can do. You know, a lot of it are there obvious things, but it's nice to see the collection of all your stats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're ever in a blocked place, you could look at it and say, like, what might this be related to on my
Exactly.
stats? And that can help you to release it.
Release. Okay, moving on. So another way in which we thought we could illustrate kind of how our partnership has evolved and how we've learned to release our ego and release certain expectations is this slide, which is 2 different projects that we've done.
Yes. It's very charming to look at it now. The image on the left was one of our first commissions. It was a custom installation for the artist Fadi Turner.
So great.
She was great, and she's so free and released that she gave us carte blanche.
So free.
And man, we took it. And we created something that's borderline psychotic. But it's cute because we composed the installation in layers because we didn't know how to blend ourselves yet, blend our styles and our art. So it's like Elizabeth's layer, Kelly's layer.
So charming,
Elizabeth's
actually.
layer, Kelly's layer. But it's still, it still works together. There's a lot of joy in there. We think of color as joy. And the image on the right is a custom wall covering we did a few years later for Patagonia, Nashville. And we chose this one because we both drew things for it. A lot of times I'm the one drawing, elements, and then Elizabeth will compose everything into a pattern or into, an installation. And this time we both drew things, and you can't really tell who did what. The styles and the choices that we made just wove together really well. And yeah, I think it's pretty successful.
Yeah, it was a moment where we finally learned how to kind of actually make something better together that wasn't looking like just something that Kelly would make or something that just I would make. And we created what we feel like is more of the New Hat fingerprint, which now at the end of every project, we're like, how the hell did we come up with that?
Yeah.
And that's sort of the marker.
It's like, didn't
of
see that
success.
going there.
Yeah.
But it's awesome.
Exactly. And we know that, and it kind of gives you that feeling of releasing your ego in that way, helps you do something bigger than yourself, which is what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that making your own art isn't valuable, but that's just something that is important for us, for our business to run smoothly in that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Release
your expectations. See, I tried to cue her. That was rude.
I'm sorry. No. Release your expectations.
That's right.
Yeah. So New Hat was, driving along now. We turned 3 years old, and we kind of hit a major obstacle.
Yep.
We were taking on all the wrong jobs, too many of them, not charging enough money for them because we had trouble kind of valuing our work.
Yep.
And we're better about that now. But we needed help. We were thinking about closing our business because we couldn't see the way forward. We were just in a hamster wheel. And so we asked for help. We
Thank God.
Thank God. We hired a business advisor, and she started having us, build structure, stick to it, be accountable to it. And then also taught us that to stay in business, you have to do business development.
Yes.
And business development is not marketing. And an Instagram account is not a marketing plan.
A poorly done Instagram account certainly is not.
So, we were on this path. We were making this big business development plan about all the people we were going to reach out to and who we wanted to work with. And we didn't enact it. We just kept stalling. And then COVID hit. And then we kept stalling again. And
we're like, we got to redo this PDF.
Yeah.
Again.
We kept kind of shuffling around the fears. Like, oh, our PDF isn't good enough. Or maybe we want to change what we say, or maybe that person wouldn't be a good client. And I can reference my baseball card because
Yes.
one of my main fears are messing up or embarrassing myself, because I'm kind of shy. And I'm like, oh, I see this now. Like, I'm scared to reach out to people. I'm scared to call them.
Yep.
I'm scared to introduce myself, because what if I say something stupid, and what if they say no? And I had to
Release.
that. And something our business advisor said to me one day really struck home.
Mhm.
She said, "You are in control of your cash flow."
Mm.
And I was like, oh my God, you're so right.
Mhm.
This business is so important to me. This is how I want to be paid. This is how I want to live my life. And I'm in control of that. And it just kind of became easier and easier after that to reach out to people, be vulnerable, be willing to mess up. You're not going to mess up, and people are happy to meet you. And, business doesn't work, and people aren't going to find your business and like ask you to work with them.
No.
You have to introduce yourself. You have to tell them what you're about, and tell them what your product's about. So
Yeah.
that I had to release my expectations of what business was, what strategy was, and what people thought of it.
Yeah. And have the confidence to make money. I think as artists, and there's some stigma around that, and to value yourself, as Kelly was saying. So yeah, release the fear of success, which is, kind of an odd thing.
That's a hard one.
That's a hard one. I think that's the one where we often still struggle with.
Especially as artists.
Yeah, I think you don't want to feel like you're selling out or dumbing anything down or doing anything wrong or whatever. I mean, it's again, it's just like a soup of all of that. So it was essential that we were releasing these expectations. And once we did, the world opened up to us.
It actually became fun. It was like a party.
Yeah.
I mean, you realize like, oh, I have this community of people that they already exist, and we can just talk to them about our work and ask them for introductions.
Exactly. And actually having process and strategy doesn't limit me creatively. It provides freedom. And our business advisor has this, it's kind of like our mantra for this year, which was money equals freedom and freedom equals art. And so we often are referencing that whenever we're making decisions about what jobs to take on. And it's really true. And the more that we can create space around what we do with money and structure, the more actual time we have to make art.
Right.
So that's what we've been focusing on, is like getting creative about business, to actually open up the space for creativity in and of itself. And COVID, luckily, was perfect timing for us. That's a terrible thing to say. It's terrible thing that happened, but it gave us all of us space to learn how to release and to have this time to look deeply into our own emotional baseball cards and learn what's true, and try to make decisions from a place of clarity instead of assumptions. And so we were so glad to have that time period during this last year and a half to enact these new and scary things that just basically involve releasing our fear.
Yes. Well said.
Thanks, babe.
It's always about fear, isn't it?
Isn't it? I mean, that's what this whole thing is about. Yeah. That's what we're releasing. That's what we're releasing today.
Yeah.
We're doing this. We're talking to you. It's terrifying. Okay. So last,
release
forever. So sad.
No,
it's not sad. No, it's part of it. It's part of life. It's part of what we've decided creates an emotionally intelligent partnership. Is anytime we're feeling some type of way, it's usually about something that's going on inside of us, or inside of myself. If I'm feeling any tension, it's usually something I need to release inside of myself. And we both practice that, and that keeps our relationship healthy and vibrant and moves us forward as a business, which feels kind of like a miracle most days.
I know. It's a way that we kind of keep the engine clean of our business, because we have to vacillate into so many different roles all the time. And we'll always be working on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the most important thing is that we want to give you this takeaway, which, do you have your phone with you? Okay,
I have it here.
so we have created a little ringtone for you guys. I don't know if you've heard us say release today or not, but we've said it a few times. And I'm going to turn this up and see if it comes through, but we've created a ringtone for you. Here we go. Release. I hope that was heard. But basically it's Kelly's voice saying release.
Release.
And a few suggested uses. Have a hard person in your life that you're having troubles with, put it as their text ringtone, put it as their call ringtone.
Yeah, you're released before you even talk to them.
Exactly. Great reminder. If you're gonna work for a block of time and you want to set a timer for that, and at the end you want someone to say release to you, and so you release that block of work, set this timer. So that will be found somewhere in the links. And we're going to release our time of talking to you right now. And thank you so much for sitting through that little history of New Hat and what we've learned around releasing. And
Yes.
Yeah.
We welcome your questions.
yeah,
Thank you.
thank you. And good night.
Yeah. Oh.
Do we need a da 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 da? Here's another thing that we say to each other in the studio.
You rock.
Have I told you lately that you rock? It's true.
It's a lot of affirmation up in
A
here.
lot of affirmation.
So everyone who is here, it's been really wonderful. If you have questions for Kelly and Elizabeth, we would love to hear them. Put them in the chat, or
Hit
we
us
can have
hard.
Jonathan highlight you if you're feeling fresh and want to connect directly with everybody. But so our first question we have is, have you had to turn down a project that pays well, and what did you do, and why did you do that?
Yes. We had to release that project.
We did.
I think the one that I'm thinking about, part of the work we did with our business advisor was determining who the right client is for us. And part of that is, will the process go smoothly? Will we align visually? Will they want what we have to offer?
Yeah. Do they collaborate well?
Do they collaborate well? We like to create partnerships with everyone we work with, since everything we do is custom.
Yeah.
So it became just really like a, yes, this pays well, but we know it's not going to go well. And that's
Yeah.
going to take up more time than we have.
Yeah. And whereas we could be opening the gate for a job that is a better use of our time and that will maybe even pay us more. So I know it's really tempting. And I think in our early days, we did a lot of that, just taking whatever was coming because we were afraid it wasn't going to come again. But you just kind of have to take that leap of faith and turn down the job that's not right for you.
Yeah, we did. We spent a lot of time kind of trying to say yes to everything. And we got on that Warren Buffett quote, which was like, successful people say no to things, but the most successful people say no to almost everything. Which, whoa, how to get there? Let us know. But we're on that path.
Yeah.
Good question.
We have another question from Manuel Zeiland. Did you guys
Aw.
plan your outfits, or did that just happen?
Listen,
It just happened, Manuel.
yeah, we know you love color and that you understand it. And thank you for appreciating that.
We did choose our chairs, though, based on
Yes.
our outfits.
It's obvious which one should have
Yeah,
chosen
this
which.
was a happy serendipity moment for me.
Also, Manuel wanted to say that you guys are doing awesome
Thanks,
and
Manuel.
grappling with the same challenges that you guys are, even though they've been in business for 40 years. So it's
Inspiration.
It's all
We
really
should talk about
relatable
that.
for whether you're an individual freelancer or like a full
Yeah.
business, just knowing what to say yes and no to. And
Yes.
that's been,
That's nice to
I
hear.
think people are going to
Thank you,
really
Manuel.
Thanks,
love
Manuel.
this. Another question that we've got is how do you take time to grow your skills and try new things when you're so busy with client work?
Oh, well. we're in a phase right now. I think, to be quite honest, again, like we've been on this business journey of like, how do we make our business work so we can be creative, we can be more creative, we can create more space, we can release a lot of the tension that is built up around how are we going to like pay our own bills. And so we hope that like the goal is to create more hours in the day by having systems to where we can build our skills and like choose more things that we want to do. So I don't know what you think.
Well, in all transparency, this is a conversation we've had this week, even
Yes.
because, we've been hustling for a few years, and
Yeah.
I think we both can get burned out because, creative work, you can't just force it.
No.
You have to be inspired, which is why I talk about the clean engine. But we've decided to try taking Fridays off for the next month because luckily there's trade-offs with everything.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the good ones for owning your own business is the flexibility you have. So we're going to try doing that to give ourselves more time to make our art or learn things.
And ultimately it's our responsibility to stay free of mind in that way, since we're being hired to do something special and custom and one of a kind for people. And we want to like really delight and please our clients. And so, we're hoping that time and space brings that.
Yeah. And one of those things that, I've been working on is my solo art show at Gallery Bang Bang, which will be September 18th. But, we've thought a lot about this because we're both individual artists as well.
Right.
And we need to make time to create that things that are not just for New Hat.
Right.
So are you guys taking today off after this?
Damn right.
Ooh, very nice.
That was our treat for public speaking.
We encourage all of you
deserve
to.
that reward for sure.
Yeah.
So another question we have is, how do you feel your business has evolved in 5 years? And like, do you have any long-term goals you're thinking about right now other than releasing your Fridays?
Oh man. Well, we'll continue to release forever, obviously. We've evolved so much. I think even that like last slide, I'm not even going to bring it up. Not the last slide, but the Vadi Turner Patagonia slide of how we started, making art in building blocks versus integration. And we, for me, I'll speak for me because this is what we've talked about, emotional intelligence. I came to New Hat with a lot of need to try lots of things. And I was like, New Hat will be a playground for all the possibilities ever, which is, that's not how you build a business, friends. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you. Maybe you can, but that's not how we did. And so I think we've evolved. I think I've evolved in being okay with releasing that New Hat needs to provide every creative excitement in my life, and that I can be excited about what we need to do in the moment, which is learn how to creatively approach business, which has been super challenging and rewarding. And so instead of me just adding obstacles all the time by saying like, we should try a new process, we should do this, we should make this from scratch, we should get someone to hire us to do this, we focused and we found our niche, and that has been the thing that's given us the most freedom so far. So that was something that I've evolved on.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, you think that freedom, you can set it from the get-go by saying like, well, you can't pin us down.
No
like,
box.
We'll make art in any way for you.
Yeah.
But that's actually confusing and it doesn't help you grow. And
Exactly.
when we did focus on mainly custom wall coverings, is what it is. It's given us a level of stability to where we can be more free now, and we can actually have the space and time to think about the future. We didn't think about the future for a long time. I didn't.
No.
Because I was afraid of New Hat ending or like what I would do then and, doomsday stuff. But, we're at a point now. Our business advisor helped us have the best year ever, even after COVID,
Yeah.
because of the system and the structure we've put in place and our commitment to how much we care about this business. And now it's like the skies are clearing and I'm like, oh, there is a future.
Oh, that's really wonderful. That's so beautiful. On that same vein, we do have people asking if you, since you do so much creative work for your business, do you gravitate toward different kinds of creative outlets when you are like utilizing your free time as artists? Or
Yeah.
you said finding creativity in business has been like a fun new thing that you've been getting to
Yeah.
embrace.
Right. You want me to go? Or you want to go? Okay. Well, yeah, I think I'm similar to my need for New Hat to do lots of different things. Like, yes, during the pandemic, I was basket weaving and I was making pieces of paper out of tape and like meticulously hole punching them to like create a different. I'm not even going there because it's
She loves
insane.
materials.
I love materials, ceramics, painting. Like, yes, I'm a little bit manic in terms of my creative outlets, and sometimes it feels like I just have to burst out an idea or a thing. And so
You care about utilizing your time well too,
yeah,
which can,
I think, and if I'm being really honest, I'll spend a lot of time sitting and thinking about the right thing to do instead of doing it. And I'm looking forward to, as our business evolves and as my what I feel as an artist evolves within my life, like I'll have more space. And part of it has been releasing my expectation that I can make work right now, which is hard to do because you want to do it all. But yeah, I have a lot of like manic moments of like doing something and not finishing it because I'm not the finisher, I'm the starter. So it's kind of a wild existence for me, but Kelly's more methodical.
mine's more boring, I guess.
No.
I love cooking and I love
Yes.
decorating. Those are acts that make me feel creative every day. And that's like decorating and looking at old decorating books and making collages. That's my happy place. That's how I play.
Yeah.
And I recently moved, so I'm kind of all agog with things I could do in my house. But it's not easy to like find the energy to do your work outside of, your day job.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that I'm having an art show, and I'm so happy that Brittany Murphy asked me to do it because
Yeah.
it was a good motivator for me
Right.
to see myself as an individual artist again and to feel okay if I was producing work that didn't really look like New Hat work or didn't have to do with that. And I'm nervous about people seeing it because I haven't had a solo show here in Nashville or ever. But I need to release. Just thrive in the experience.
Yeah. And Kelly is such an amazing cook and like, and decorator. I hate that word because it's just it's like demeaning, but when she does that and like expresses her creativity through that, like through everything she touches turning to gold, it gives me so much peace. And like it helps me to even release my own like kind of manic moments where I'm like, I'm going to make a zine about artificial intelligence this week. And like, I don't have to do that if it doesn't feel right. I can do something more simple, like take a walk in the woods and like find the most pretty leaf. And that's the creative thing I did. So kind of tone it down.
I'm very curious about this artificial intelligence zine.
She's going to make it one day.
It's in the works. Last 2 years.
It's been a big year for zines for me. So,
Oh, good. Yeah. Me too.
Making lots of little things.
Cool.
We also have someone asking, do you collaborate with any other artists on any of your editions?
We have in the past. Our first art project wallpaper, what we called in our product line. We have a product line. Everyone should go to our website and check out our work.
Yes.
It was called Crappy Magic, and we worked with David Helms, who has he done Creative Mornings talk?
Oh, no. we should
Okay,
look
I
him
don't
up.
know. No,
Yeah.
maybe he hasn't. But his art project was called Crappy Magic, and he collected discarded objects from Goodwill and took photos of them, and then had other artists like reimagine these objects. And so we did a wallpaper, which was a taxonomy of all of these crazy, cool bits and bobs of, one man's trash is David Helm's treasure. So that was really cool.
Yeah, the photographs he took of the objects were meticulous,
Yeah.
really beautiful. And Elizabeth just had this vision, like this should be a wallpaper. So that was our first collaboration. And then another one we've done is behind us, a wall covering that we designed with and for Alex Lockwood's home.
Yes. And we chose this one specifically because we've been working on this wall covering for a year, and it was something completely different than this. It was a mural that had like outer space and like a fantasy mountain scene and like a weird curtain and
Candyland.
cats and Candyland. Like, we can't even tell you. Like, it was a psychotic, amazing mural. But after like 8 months into it, we had to say to ourselves, we don't like this. This
It's
isn't
not
the right
working.
solution. And so we had to release all that work and all that time. And thank God Alex is so patient and wonderful. But then we kind of like came upon this solution that we felt was right for him and the longevity of his house and his life. And
Yeah, and the themes that he returns to in his work.
exactly. Yeah. So this is a pattern of release, actually.
is.
So do you know where in his house this is going? Is it?
It's going in a
Yes.
hallway,
Mhm.
so there's lots of rooms that lead off of it, and
Ooh.
it's
Yeah.
kind of like a little arty portal.
Yeah.
I was just say, yeah, it's like this little transformative space. Like you get to like,
We're gonna put it on the ceiling too, so that'll be a
oh,
nice
that's so
immersive
fun.
experience.
Definitely, please send us pictures when this is done
We
being
will.
installed.
will.
And
We will. Yes. It
everything.
will be photographed.
Yeah. So, all right. Do we have any other questions? People raising their hands. Jonathan, if anybody's raising their hand, if you want a spotlight on them.
I think we're good.
But yeah, and we also, just as a little reminder for everybody, we have the release, text tone, ringtone, whatever you want it to be, in the Creative Mornings Nashville Instagram. So that's a link in our bio. You can download that and put it wherever you need to.
Hope you
When
heard
you
that.
need to be motivated and reminded of all of the little wisdom nuggets we got today, like getting into your niche and that you're in charge of your cash flow and just everything that I've been seeing the little snaps for in the chat over the course of this morning. And then we
Good.
also have the emotional baseball card available for download in
Do it.
the Creative Mornings Instagram as well. So that's another link in bio. So you can download it, print it out, decorate it. We would absolutely love to see how everybody fills that little guy out. I'm obsessed with
Totally.
the fact that it's like your favorite color combo.
Yes.
I think that was my favorite little box to notice
Yeah.
when I was looking at that.
We kind of
So
went overboard on ours. Like, we couldn't pick 3. So
I mean,
sorry. Yeah.
I like that you made it and then broke your own.
Oh, yeah.
Your own
Yeah.
structure.
Yeah. That's the story
Release
of my
yourself
life.
from those rules.
Make a rule, break a rule.
Make a rule, break a rule. That's a good way of living.
Yeah.
So, all right. I think we're closing out. If you guys have any other things you want to share with everybody, like I said, we're gonna keep talking about your gallery show. So
Yeah.
get more comfy seeing yourself as an artist because we're gonna
That's
talk about it again closer to September.
Amazing. We
honest
did
with
want
that.
to shout out to the upcoming event at Cheekwood, where New Dialect, amazing contemporary dance company in Nashville, will be hosting a performance, and we're going to be making some art sculpture type things that will be within the boxwood garden. It's going to be very interactive. It's going to be at nighttime. It's going to be called Neon Nights. There's going to be dancing. There's going to be black lights,
Day glow.
It's going to be.
When is that happening?
It's 2 Thursday nights in October.
Yeah.
I think the 14th and the 21st.
Okay.
And we'll send, like, once they release the press release. Sorry, I had to say that. We will send that to you guys, so you'll know more about it.
Yeah,
No,
we'd love
we're
to have
gonna-
you come out.
We're going to keep you guys posted on all the amazing things these ladies are working on. If you're on the west side, go to 8th and Roast. They did that.
We did that.
I'm trying to think what else you guys have done around town. So
Oh
people
man, a lot of
You can go to
things.
Lemon
further this
Lane,
experience.
Lemon
in
Lane,
East Nashville,
Jackalope,
Jackalope
Brewery.
Brewery,
Oku.
restaurant in
Yep.
Germantown.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. R.I.P. Green Pheasant. It was a
Rip
beautiful
Green Pheasant.
time. If you got to experience it,
Yeah.
know in your heart where it came from.
Yep. We made some giant
So.
origami sculptures. It was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah, check out our website. There's a full portfolio list and most of them are local. And you can
Go
visit.
on a little world tour. All right. Well, thanks
Cute.
so much for joining us this morning, everybody. I know we got started a little late, but we're ending a little early. So
Perfect.
you can, release yourselves from this Zoom and go about your Friday. Maybe take the day off and
With us. Do it.
yes,
Release it.
release it.
Why not?
Bye, everybody. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Let me